Welcome to Finch's Fife, a stronghold of scavvers, traders, and mercenaries, all ruled over by Patriarch Abraham Finch. This is his scrap kingdom. But what will happen when his crafty and ambitious son Danny starts to usurp his position at the head of the table? Well, that's a story I want to hear as much as I want to tell it. But first, we need to build the place. Here's the plan. First, we're going to rip out all those crops. This ain't that kind of place anymore. Second, we're going to spruce up the family home. Make it something worthy of the Scrap King himself. And third, we're going to throw a wrench into Abe's kingdom with Danny's new trading post, and the techno gizmos that are going to make him the new heir to the kingdom, whether Abe likes it or not. Let's get started. The crops are gone, and we've kicked down the fences, but people still need to eat, so we're going to add a greenhouse to the side of the family home. Well, it ain't pretty, but the crops are growing. Now, we're going to put a second addition on the family home, Abe's workshop. This is where he turns trash into treasure. Deadly treasure. Abe's specialty is weaponry, and he's a genius when it comes to creative ways to slice, scorch, and mangle people. And this is where the magic happens. Outside the workshop is a junk pile, salvage carted in from all over the Commonwealth that Abe plans to turn into something nasty. While we're at it, let's add some decorations to the family home. And by decorations, I mean more trash. In my mind, Abe is a manic mechanic. His brain always running faster than his hands. He tends to leave a lot of half-finished projects lying around, but who's going to tell him to clean up after himself? On the walls, we can see some of his inventions, homemade instruments of murder and mayhem. And outside, his prized possession, his very own suit of power armor, rebuilt one piece at a time over years and years. Abe keeps the fusion core on himself personally at all times. Only Dad has the keys to the car. Now, we don't want this to be some friendly family home, so let's add some edge with a watchtower, some stay-away poles, and some spotlights. Alright, I'm thinking the home is looking pretty good here. Now let's see what Danny's been up to. Danny's trading post and garage is a well-oiled and organized machine. People can walk up to the kiosk built into the wall and request everything from repairs to specific parts and components. No matter how hard they are to find, Danny will get it done. For a price. Danny has his own bunk and office here, and unlike his dad, everything is squared away and organized. Every item in its place, every sale and request tracked and filed. Danny is obsessively focused and single-minded. He's a man of vision. But how does he find these rare items? Well, Danny has an ace up his sleeve. Danny got his hands on a pre-war Eyebot pod that he can use to remotely scan the entire Commonwealth for specific items. He's the only member of the family with the tech savvy to use it, and it's the core of his growing empire. Abe might rule the roost at home, but Danny has eyes that extend for miles. The trading post is right next to the main gates. Let's be a little fancy and make it an automatic garage door. We're going to wall the entire settlement eventually, but this is a good start. Now, let's start filling up the place and introduce the rest of our characters. Abe has several tenants that he graciously allows within the walls of his homestead, as long as they pay their way, and we need to build homes for them. First off are his assistants. These are the serfs of the place. Abe's main assistant lives in a converted truck trailer. It's not glamorous, but it's home. He's picked up a few tricks watching the old man work, so his trailer's also filled with scrap and half-completed projects. We're going to use the trailer here as part of the wall on the northern side, pulling double duty and breaking up the fencing. Our other home is going to be the bed of an old pickup. This guy, he's not doing as well. He's the grunt labor, carrying and sorting salvage. And I've gotten a little clever here. I've sunk some crops under the main trash pile, and I've assigned our serf to them, so it looks like he's on his hands and knees all day rummaging away. Very grim. These guys, they don't live well. They're dependent on Abe for everything, ripe for exploitation, and he's not a nice boss. Speaking of exploitation, let's address our water shortage with the Fife's very own water baron. First, I want to set up the water purifier in a shack for the Baron to live in. We've elevated the shack, getting him up out of the water and hinting at his lofty position in town. Next, we'll add some defenses to keep the freeloaders away. Oh yeah, that's right, nothing's free around here. And the Water Baron earns his caps by controlling access to the only source of clean water. You see, the water here is particularly polluted, flowing in and pooling at both the ironworks and another junkyard across the way. So it requires more than the typical filtering and distilling. It needs a chemical process to clean it up, a process that he keeps a closely guarded secret. He trades his water dearly, so while we're decorating here, let's make sure his home is a little more cushy than the others. He'll keep living the easy life as long as he keeps the water flowing. Then we have our next tenant, an armor blacksmith. This guy specializes in turning old bumpers and car doors into breastplates and shin guards. A lot of the gear that you see the settlers wearing around here is his work. We're going to put this guy on the corner of the settlement. Similar to Danny, he has an outward-facing shop. But he serves a, let's say, rougher clientele. Raiders, mercs, any kind of person who's expecting to take a bullet in the near future. Inside, he has his crafting table and supplies, and some rather Spartan living quarters. This is a man of essentials, and outside is his most essential, his best friend. And of course, since he's an armorer, his dog is geared up too. Finally, we come to Abe's last and most mysterious tenant, the Roach Lady. We need someone with scary energy living at the back of the settlement, and I was inspired by Fallout 3's Roach King. First, let's make a rustic shack for her, something with spooky vibes. Fantastic, this looks horrible. Now, let's fill it with roaches. The story here is that, like some kind of Pied Piper, the roach lady can somehow control the roaches that crawl out of the junk and trash that Abe hauls into the settlement. To her, they're a combination of pets, security system, and food source. She earns her keep by controlling the insect population and trading cheap protein with the other settlers. Needless to say, she weirds them out, but they need her. These are Abe's subjects. But they're not the only ones living here, and we still have to finish our wall. So let's meet Danny's employees. I always liked the bus bunker concept from the Art of Fallout 4 book, so we're going to do a similar thing here. This is 1 part trailer home, 1 part pillbox. This is where Danny's retrieval team lives. A couple of ex-raiders who are used to danger and specialize in break and enter. A handy set of skills when you're trying to get into untouched pre-war ruins still plump with loot. The operation is simple. Danny gets a request for a rare part or some piece of pre-war tech. He uses his Eyebots to go and find that tech wherever it is out there. Then he sends these two out to get it. They get in wherever they're sent, quiet and easy, or loud and hard, doesn't matter. And in return, they get the perks. Abe is all about the stick, but Danny, he knows the value of the carrot. He keeps his crew happy, comfortable, and healthy. And in return, they keep providing him with parts that he sells for 3 times what he's paying them. Last but not least, we have the older brother, Jake Finch.
How dare you live from live?
He's always been the wild one, sneaking out at night to run with raider gangs, getting in fights, coming home with blood on his clothes and a pocket full of caps. Jake used to be the favorite son, but not that long ago, he had a falling out with his dad. Something about him stealing his sword or whatever, I don't know. Point is, Jake's been on thin ice with his dad, getting less and less respect, and given more and more crap jobs. Already a ball of rage, Jake's been stewing on things for months. And now Danny's found an outlet for that aggression, by making him security for the shop. Security. At least that's the official line. What Danny and Jake keep to themselves is that sometimes, when the price is right, they won't just find old parts in ruins and junk piles. They'll find it on traders, caravans, and in other settlements. If you've got something they need, Jake will take. And sooner or later, they're gonna get tired of their crazy old man and decide to take this whole settlement for themselves. But not tonight. Tonight, the gunners are attacking. Maybe they want that Eyebot pod for themselves. Maybe they're just tired of the Finches stealing from their own junkyard. But for whatever faults this family has, for whatever resentments are bubbling under the surface, they know they have to stand together against them. Thankfully, everyone in this scrap kingdom is armed to the teeth. I spent a lot of time selecting equipment that felt right for each settler, trying to tell a little story with the kind of gear they have. Of course we have Abraham, the father, swinging his signature flaming sword around, charging the battle fearlessly in his suit of rebuilt power armor. I like the Inquisitor cowl on him. It looks homemade out of engine parts and exhaust pipes. The perfect crown for the junkyard king. And homemade is the watchword here. Take Abigail Finch and her baseball launcher, a sort of more specialized version of the junk jet Abe is tinkering with in the garage. A custom weapon for the queen, every bit as fiery and wild as her husband. I wanted almost everyone in the settlement to be using a post-war, cobbled-together weapon of some kind, reflecting Abe's stock and trade, and setting the fief apart from my more conventional settlements. The makeshift weapon pack is a godsend here. The buzzsaw launcher perfectly fits Jake's rough and ragged personality. Jake is tooled up in heavy raider gear, cause that's who he is at the end of the day. A violent thug, and we want to be able to spot him a mile away. And of course, the armor blacksmith is using a nail gun, a tool that can easily become a weapon when provoked. Draped tip-to-toe in armor of his own creation, he's not afraid of trading a few hits either. You'll notice everyone here is wearing a mask of some kind. That's intentional. The junkyard stinks, and the air is bad. The only exception is the image-conscious Danny. He wants to be taken seriously as a trader or merchant, and he can't do that if he's always hiding his face. But the Assaultron helmet he's made for himself has this neat trick of closing up when he draws his weapon. Very slick. Bit of a show-off, that Danny. In the same vein, he's using a railway rifle, a refinement on his dad's junk jet concept. Stripped down, sleeker, focused to a sharp point. It's all about precision over dramatics. You know, it's not enough for him to be inspired by his dad, he has to surpass him. Speaking of inspiration, Abe's assistant has his own take on that famous flaming sword. He uses a baseball bat wrapped with a superheated coil powered by a humble fission battery. Maybe not as flashy, but certainly cheaper and easier to make. The other serf, he isn't as lucky. He's defending himself with only a crude piece of piping. But as miserable as he is, he still won't go down without a fight. If he survived Abe, he'll survive this too. And true to her nature, the Roach Lady takes a different approach to combat, spraying down enemies with the acid soaker. Some kind of concentrated toxin she's extracted from her roaches, no doubt. A weapon designed to inflict pain and terror more than anything else. The Water Baron shows off his wealth with a custom-made triple-barrel shotgun. A fancy weapon for a fancy man. Too bad he didn't spend any of that money on armor. Danny's retrieval team, on the other hand, are loaded up with their work gear. They're no strangers to a fight, and they know exactly how valuable the right protection can be. They're not from the settlement, though, so they're carrying more conventional raider weapons. A pipe automatic and a sledgehammer that's equally useful at breaking into old ruins as it is at breaking skulls. The fact is, these gunners never stood a chance. When you come for the king, you best not miss. This is Finch's Fief, a hardscrabble settlement, a fortress built out of the scrap and garbage of the old world, a collection of the wasteland's children, the scared, the angry, and the strange. All ruled over by a strong man, a mad genius who's managed to create something out of nothing. But he's a man who rules with fear and engenders no loyalty from his subjects or his family. He's a man just on the cusp of being overthrown by his calculating and driven son. Will he see the danger in front of him before it's too late? Or will Danny and Jake sneak up on him one day while he's consumed with his work and put an end to him? And what would be better for the Commonwealth? A fearsome dragon who hoards his treasure in his cave? Or an unknown creature with a million eyes searching the horizon for his next prize? Only time will tell which Finch will rule this fief. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm just going to wander around the settlement a bit and give you a tour while I finish up here. I really enjoyed coming up with the concept for this settlement, taking what's already present in the game and putting a bit of a different spin on it. And I have some more ideas for this kind of thing, including the slog just up the road. I also have some really crazy ideas that will probably take a bit to see if they can be pulled off. This video took a lot of effort to put together, so if you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate a like or a sub to let me know I'm on the right track. And if you want to take a deeper look at how the settlement was made, I've uploaded it as a blueprint on Nexus Mods. You can find the link in the description, as well as which mods I used while making this settlement. And before I go, I want to give a big special thank you to Court, who inspired the format of this video. I've wanted to make settlement builds with a more narrative focus for a long time now, but I wasn't sure how to make it work until I saw what he was doing. If you're somehow watching this video without seeing his, go check them out. They're a whole lot better. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time, Wastelanders.